Hi there, it's Michelle Last here, and thanks for joining me for Tuesday's tip. I promised I'd let you know how I made the flowers for my latest project that was being on my blog recently. I made a burlap wreath, and I just trimmed some of the edge of the wreath with flowers. Just going to show you very quickly how I pinned the wreath. I just wrapped it round, and then just secured it with pins. I thought I was being genius when I did that, because if I get bored of this project, which may happen, I can whip the pins out, and then I've got all this lovely burlap ribbon to use. And these flowers are also just secured with pins, so I can actually remove them, move them about, change the colour, pop them in, and do whatever I want with them. So I thought that was a master stroke for me, someone as fickle as me. So I'm going to show you how we made the flowers today. You probably have seen the stars before. It's nothing majorly complicated, but I just want to show you the tools that I've used. So I've used, now God, I can't even remember the names of everything. I've used this one, the mixed bunch. It coordinates with the mixed bunch stamp set. I've used this one. In fact, I need to find out what they're called. And the small circle, and then I've also used the floral framelits. This is easy because the name's on there. And I've actually used the two sizes here from the floral framelits. Now, I just wanted to show you that when you're cutting any of these thinlet dies, you really need to be using the magnetic plate, because it will hold the dies on the plate for you, which means that you can make sure you put them on your paper, and the dies aren't going to move when you run them through the big shop. That's a must-have, and that's back in stock. So I'm going to show you first of all with the biggest flower here, how I made that. And you need to get a bone folder. I did this first, and I just bent the edges of the flowers in whichever direction I want to see. I also inked the edges, but we'll do that in a moment. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut halfway in, and I'm going to remove two petals. Now this is the biggest one. So actually no, the biggest one I'm just going to remove one petal. And then what you're going to do is, I just folded it in half, got my little circle punch, squished it into the point, and just took out the middle bit like this, okay? Can you see that? So when you open it up, you've got a little hole, and you've got one of the petals missing. Now all I did is I put my Tombow, this is nearly gone, gosh, if you're like me, I use my Tombow to the last drop, because I've had it laid flat, it's all gone from the tip. So I'm just going to cross over and create my actual cone flower shape. Hold that so it glues. And then what I would do is I'd get my ink, and I would ink all my edges of my flowers. Little details like that make all the difference. It just makes it look finished. And because this is going to go up in my home, and I hope that it's going to go up in my home for a little while, I wanted it to look finished and not just a quick project. So that's one flower. Then what you would do is you would get the next size down, and you would do the same. Now I'm just going to take out one flower of this one. I will show you some slightly different techniques with the other ones. It's going to be exactly the same. I don't crimp the edges, curl the edges, which I'm going to do now. But you can do pretty much all of these different techniques to your heart's content, so you can decide how big or how small you want your flowers to be, how you want them to nest. So that's a middle-sized flower, and obviously just nesting in on that, you would get two nice flowers. I added a few more layers, so you can see on my one, I actually added a few more layers, and you can build it up as much as you wish. So that was the floral framelits one. When I used the punches, I did exactly the same process. So I'm going to punch out the mixed bunch one. Now there's a couple of ways of doing it. You can go, again, you go to the middle, and if you want to, you can take, I'm just going to take one out. Again, I'm going to punch a little hole. You don't have to punch a hole at this point. can create a little hole afterwards, but you need the hole obviously to get the pin through. You don't want it to be too big. And I also found that if you didn't take out a bit of the point and the bulk, it wouldn't want to lay as flat on the wreath. It wanted to stand up in a cone shape, which just didn't look right to me. So I just needed to cut some of the bulk off of it underneath. And you can do that with scissors afterwards if you want to. So again, we're just creating another flower by just cutting away one of the petals. And if I show you in this one, just different flower punches will give slightly different effects. And I'm trying to think, on one of them I did actually cut away 2 petals. I just don't know which one it was now. So that's obviously very small. Now, to nest that inside, what I'd probably do is just cut down, but don't remove anything, and just slightly overlap it. That's what I did on that one. So this one, let's actually get them glued and show you. So this one is the smallest one, and obviously the smaller one goes on the inner. This one's to spring apart because it's really quite a small loop. Again, I haven't cut the little bit out, but I've just cut it out now, not quite in the centre. This one, I'm going to cut that little loop out. So experiment with the flower punches or the dies that you have, and work with what you've got. And then when you layer those on top, obviously that's a slightly smaller, gradual sized one. Turn it so that the petals are slightly different, and that is actually this one. Now I also ran, this is just cardstock, and I ran it through the crimper a few times because it just softens the fibres in the paper and makes it just, it's got like a bit of a brushed suede effect when you keep doing it. So this one is actually the floral framelits, just the smaller ones. This one is also the floral framelits, but the bigger, larger ones. This one is this punch, and that's the same, just they look slightly different in different papers. And then all I've done is just poke a pin through, and then I've stuck a nice embellishment over the top on dimensionals, actually, just over the top, because this is designed to be able to be changed. Now, this one, I just got a pin and stuck a little brad in, and one of the antique brads, and then we've got the inner for the flower, which just adds a bit of detail. That's super fast to do, but I'm going to show you that very quickly. We just need a strip of paper. Let me find one. I was going to save this for another day, but I won't. So I'm just going to get a strip of dark paper and just want to cut a small strip. Then what you're going to do is you're just going to take some time to cut little lines all the way along, finishing at roughly the same point. So finishing here, but I've left that so it's not cut into. So I'm just going to move along. And you can always go back and cut again if you've left too big a gaps, but then you'll start cutting away, but it won't matter. Okay, so, and then I'm going to use my bone folder again, and I'm going to just bend over the tops, just gently. That didn't work very well. Sometimes it works if you just fold over something that's round, and then you're going to start folding that in. Now I used something like a paper piercer, and I just started and got it turning, and then once I got it going, I just kept turning and turning and turning, and then I got it to the desired thickness, which, to be honest, that's probably thick enough. Trimmed it off, glued it. Too much glue, I was going to squish it on my fingers. And you know I always wipe this on my jeans. I haven't got my jeans on today, got my pyjamas on. There, create a little frond to go inside one of the flowers. So through the little cut bit, you can actually push your little fronds through, open it up, and then you can trim it off on the back if you want to, and just trim it off. So don't trim it above the little fronds line, because you'll find it all break apart, but you can trim off a little part of that now. So that's the centre of the flower, which I then just got a dark pin and secured with a dark pin on the inside. And then I just created some bows, some fork bows with a pin in them, so that I could push those in too. And I got some buttons and just finished them off. And this is just the ruffled ribbon done in exactly the same way as the fronds. And you're just going to get a bit of ruffled ribbon. And I just started creating a circular effect, folding it round. Keep going until it's the desired effect. Now our sticky sheets or our sticky rounds are brilliant for these. So as you're going round and round and round and round, get to the desired size, and you're going to trim it off. You're going to get a sticky round, and they're really super sticky. And you're going to punch out a circle that fits the size, the diameter of the circle, and you're going to stick it down. And it will hold it. It really does. I don't know if you can see on my one. It's got the stickiness just under here. But it really does hold it, and that just stuck straight onto the burlap. But it also will easily lift off. But that's just a nice little flower. And then you can spend your time just spreading it out slightly to create a nice little flower. So this is lovely, and it's stretchy, so it's quite forgiving. So that's it. That's how I made the flowers on my wreath. I hope you enjoyed watching my video today. Thanks for watching, and hope to see you again soon. Thank you. Bye bye.